clippers.
Nice.
And shaved his 4-year-old brother's
Oh,
hair.
not his own. Not his own.
So his dad had to kind of clean it up. He now looks like a character on Peaky Blinders. So I call him Peaky.
So, all right, we're going to call the meeting to order and start with the board roll call. Heckman?
Here.
Blessinger? Here. Cummings?
It's gonna be late, should be here at 5:45.
Okay. Mann is not here. Maxey?
Here.
And Schnaus is here. Move on to the approval of the minutes. We all received the minutes electronically. Has everyone had a chance to review them? And so is there any questions? Hearing none, anyone willing to make a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'm gonna summarize a couple of things. I hope I don't take too much of the Travis agenda away from him. A couple things come up since the last meeting. I sent everybody a couple of estimates on the security systems. I thought we were gonna be prepared to vote on those this evening, but Travis convinced me that we probably, we weren't looking at apples to apples. So we're gonna try to put together, Travis is gonna try to put together a bid where both entities bid the same product. So at least we're looking apples to apples. So one thing I would like to do, and if this is okay, Phil, maybe get approval to spend up to maybe the amount of the high bid on the last one, so that we don't hold this thing up, because we'd like to get the security system in here quickly as we can. So,
Yeah, you could set a dollar amount not to exceed whatever that is, but based upon the recommendation of the manager.
I would throw out and say, let's make it like 20,000. Let's make it a little higher than what we originally got. There are a couple things I talked to Doug today about during my conversation with him that I would like to have, and that's the ability to be able to have a camera on the rotating beacon, a PTZ camera, to be able to see either end of the runway remotely. So that would add some cost to what Doug had previously submitted. So for whatever that's worth, if that would be acceptable.
His original estimate, I think, was 12,000 something, so 20 would give us a little more leeway. Is there any discussion or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a couple questions about, is this just for security of the building? And then you talk about a beacon camera. Is there gonna be like a forward-facing camera each direction, or so that we can see, because you see these videos, and I'm not saying we wanna see, accident investigations, but there could be something that if there's wildlife that's there, like what caused this problem, we would have some record of that. Is that just one camera or multiples aimed in different directions or different vantage points?
And those are the kind of the specs I wanted to get into in writing that,
Yeah.
to your point, right? So we can see we have coverage, 24/7 on the fuel farm. If somebody,
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a big deal. If there was a fire there ever or something.
you got it, yeah, things like that. So those are the specifics I'd like to identify for anybody that wants to compete for that.
I think the biggest difference, and this is way out of my league as far as the two bids, but what I saw is the one company quoted a lot more cameras. So I think that, I think those were covered. And I know when, maybe Chris can confirm this, but when we built the building, we did all the conduit to put cameras in various locations throughout the airport. So I think that Astro's bid included cameras all over, so
Okay.
that's something, that's a good point.
So
Will you be able to remote access that?
That's the idea, right?
I mean,
So that was one of the specific things that we want to have access.
Yeah.
So I can, there's.
Snow on the runway?
That's what I told him.
Yeah.
Exactly what we talked about.
That's what I told him. That's exactly what I told him, to give us that ability, because sometimes there's snow here and there's not snow in Jasper at my house.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
yeah.
So that was the important parts that we want to incorporate into that.
So we want to do a little more work on it, but at the same time, rather than waiting for another whole month to get this process going, if you all are okay with, we're making a motion, I'd like to recommend we move forward
Real
with
quick,
getting those.
if you don't care if I ask, I know we got a couple gentlemen with a lot of experience here in electronics and things like that. Ken, Brandon, do you guys know anybody else besides Astra Security, Advanced Radio Communications that are in the county that
Just
you,
doing cameras,
right?
I mean, Astro is gonna be your best, Arc Sales out of Evansville, and there's a couple others, we do a little bit, but nothing like Doug gets into.
Okay.
He's gonna be your best bet.
Right.
And a local guy that,
Well, that's what I'm looking for, is why I said in the county.
That's what I was gonna say, and he's local.
Yeah.
Both of these guys.
Both these guys are in Dubois County.
Can I get a motion to approve that recommendation? Can I make that motion?
You can.
I'll make the motion to approve the recommendation to allow Travis and our combination, Travis and I, to accept a high bid up to $20,000.
Low bid up to 20.
Or the low bid. Low bid up to $20,000. There's a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Personally, I feel like we got a really nice building. There's not somebody here all the time, and if somebody's gonna do something to it, we wanna know who it was and be able to see it happening. And then Brian, you mentioned there's other security issues that we.
So I think that you could also have a kiosk where, like a Ring doorbell, where people land and, instead of calling you on the phone, you could, see them and you could talk to them.
Yeah.
I think that might be beneficial to have that type of an interaction, whether maybe even there's a monitor there, like a screen where they could see you and then you could kind of explain stuff. Because, okay, you're gonna go over here to get to the fuel farm because they really can't understand you, even though you told them 3 times and stuff like that.
Right.
That might be beneficial. Again, another feature on this side from the outsiders coming in to use the facility.
Excellent discussion. The next thing is, we all have received mission statements and conflict of interest, and I want to talk about those a little bit. First of all, I hope everybody's had a chance to review them, and if you have any questions or issues, you let Becky know. But the main thing to keep in mind, nobody's pointing fingers at anybody. I think there was some concern that we may have been pointing fingers, but it's something that we are appointed by elected boards that answer to taxpayers. We really should have a policy in place. There should be something written that we follow, and we don't have that. And we're just trying to clean things up. We don't know, the State Board of Accounts are just wrapping up their audit. They may include in their audit that they didn't see that. So we're trying to make sure we're getting ahead of the game a little bit. So that's why we're doing it. And I got a couple emails that people thought we were pointing fingers, and that's not the case at all. The last thing I've got before I'll let Travis repeat what I probably just said, but the State Board of Accounts exit interview is June 29th at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Having gone through a number of those in my previous life, they'd like to have as many board members as they can there. I feel that there's no problem with open door on something like that, is there?
If you're meeting with the State Board of Accounts, that's not considered a meeting. No official action is taken.
Right.
Just a review an audit report.
Right, okay. So if anybody can make that, be great. I think it would show the involvement of the board to them and maybe help us get a little better report. But it'll be held in this building, I assume.
In this building.
On the 29th, so.
That's a Monday, I believe.
If you can make it, that'd be great. As many people as possible. All right. I'll turn it over to Travis for his airport manager's report.
All right, I don't have to talk about the security camera issues, do I? Aviation Indiana meeting, it went really well. I appreciate Ken, you being here. Becky, you were here. Rick was here as well. John Lowry, thank you for your presentation. Wonderful presentation. Thanks for Brandon and Ken. You guys came out to support John. Thanks for being here. Appreciate the support. I thought we had a really great turnout that day. Like I said, over 50-ish people from all across the state. Airport manager from Anderson, Crawfordsville, just a variety of by Evansville Airport Director was here. lots of engineers, lots of consultants were here, and, everybody was really, impressed with the facility, impressed with the, what we have, and then the presentations, the content. John kind of kicked it off. It was really good, talked about Frosty and the history of his group. So thank you, John, again for all that. Ken, Becky, you guys got any comments, thoughts?
No, the only thing I'll add is, yeah, I got a lot of good reports from the people there about how nice the facility looked. They obviously, a lot of them questioned how we were able to get that done, how we were able to pay for that. And so there was discussion, and Travis did a pretty good job, or a great job of explaining that during his presentation later. But
Actually, that was Curtis. Curtis did a good job with that. But
anyway, someone presented a good job, but it was very well presented. I was impressed. He did a great job.
And John, I want to thank you because I learned a lot from your presentation. Being on the board for a couple of years, and I'm looking at somebody's lease coming up and going, how did we get there? How are we here? But what brought us to this? So it was interesting to listen to.
There's a lot of history.
Yes.
And I've seen John in meetings for a long time, and I had no idea who he was. So I had an opportunity to get introduced to him at that conference. So that was also good.
Well, that's what I said. We anesthesiologists like to be low key, behind the scenes, and in control.
So notice that string tonight when Ken starts going like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for your presentation.
No, you're very welcome. I enjoyed doing it.
Thank you again. Come on in. So, that's all right. You have an agenda, Mike, you're good?
Yeah.
All right. So, Ken jokingly said that we need a pay raise for the board members. So Mark's gonna be working on that. That's a statutorial Indiana code, and has not been visited for years. So I think it's definitely warranted to discuss and kind of take to the Indiana General Assembly and see what happens with that. So
I wasn't joking. We don't get paid a whole lot to be here. Now, that's not why we're here, it's for the pay, but I did bring it up during the meeting with our representative at the legislature. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we, as my wife has told me numerous times, I don't get enough to pay gas to drive from Jasper to here to this meeting. So we'll see what happens. Not a big deal, but I did bring it up. He's gonna take it to the legislature, see what happens.
if you had an opportunity yet tonight prior to the meeting, make sure you check out the Pilots Lounge. I appreciate Susan, Rick's wife, came out and kind of took care of some of the things, finishings and things like that. So make sure you get over to the Pilots Lounge suite and walk through the rest areas and the restrooms. Looks really nice. Looks really nice. Glad to have it.
Is all the furniture here now?
The recliners in the Pilots Lounge are not.
Okay,
That's the only thing that we're missing right now today. Like,
So we can get working on the thank yous and the tax forms and
yes,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear, Oshkosh, planning to attend the event from July 20th to the 26th. That's an annual event. I think we all have discussed that in the past. I know there's some other tenants here in the room that typically go to that. So hope that they are all planning to attend that as well. State Board of Accounts, we talked about the exit interview. So incredibly proud of the work that Steve has led for the Airport Authority in the past 5 years here. So I just think it's appropriate to recognize Steve in his retirement and appreciate all the hard work. He's always a fun guy to work with and has led us very well. So thank you, Steve, for that.
Good job,
Thank
Steve.
you.
Appreciate it.
May 19th, we had Northeast Dubois School visit with 60-ish kindergartners, 3 different classes, and 20-some parents. It was a great success. That success probably wouldn't have been as successful, but for Mr. Otto sitting over there, he came out that morning and pulled out his helicopter, flew it around the pattern, brought it back right here where Ed's jet's sitting, and all the students had an opportunity to come up and kind of do a Q&A session with Ken. And Ken, thank you for doing that. That was spectacular. That just took it over the top. One of the comments from the teachers, she was credited to me, but I was the one to take credit. she said, Travis, every year you have something different, you know, Ken, thank you. So you're the one to make that happen. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I know those students.
It's gonna be hard to top. You're gonna have to have a rocket next year.
Yeah, It's a lot of fun.
It's pretty cool.
So thank you. And then lastly, we have the diminution of the barn milestone followed through with our partnership. They had used our property down along 231 for a yard, a lay down yard. And they did bring down that barn facility. I have been approached by multiple folks, including representatives from the Northeast Dubois High School program. My thought was to donate all those materials that the high school program wants to take. But for anybody privately that's interested, sell that. I did do a little bit of research on what some of the values were on some of the metal, the sheet metal, and some of the lumber. Here's some suggested thoughts and pricing for those things. Would welcome your comments, open for discussion, but the thought is to, if somebody's interested in putting it on their private property, let them pay for it. It's a governmental shop class, let's donate it to them.
As I drove in, it looks like just a heap of stuff. Are we concerned that somebody's gonna try to get in and pull metal or wood out and make it hurt? I know we got insurance, but is that a concern at all?
Yeah, so the idea was to probably extract whatever pieces somebody would want and get those to them. You know, I can't assume that somebody's gonna want a lot, but it's for us to do that, and so they don't have to risk that.
So we would get the metal, I can see metal in there, and I could see some people use metal, and we would get it out.
Could we make the prices not to exceed that, so that as it is, that way it will all disappear?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, good point.
You don't wanna be like, if there's nobody at $2, we drop, keep going down. It's like, yeah. Start there and they get a cherry pick it, and as it gets down, and then just take it, and then I guess the best.
Yeah, and then say, just take it.
Yeah,
Or
for
otherwise
free, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real goal here, right?
Right.
Yes.
We can all disappear. Yeah. But then at the end, when everybody's done, then we just haul in the dumpster and then load the dumpster up. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's what I
So
would
is-
say.
Northeast Dubois is going to pick it up
I think they're gonna pick it up.
this
So
summer
is
or
a
not
teacher?
the
Yeah,
next
this
school
summer.
year?
I was contacted about 2 weeks ago from Northeast Dubois school representative, and they might be a little bit different category. I might let them kind of do their own thing. It's adults, and all that kind of thing, so on behalf of the school.
So if this becomes a onesie twosie kind of thing, do you have the time to dedicate to worrying about whether some guy would just bought $35 worth of wood?
Yeah, with some help from Andy and Aiden for the summer, I think we should be able to handle it, maybe.
Okay. I just remember the last barn debacle. I just said, give it away. Let you boys have their shot at it, and whoever wants it can have it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
take on
Or even a donation.
Oh, there you go.
it. I mean, yeah, you can put an honor box out there if nobody steals it. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Whatever.
Right now, it's somewhat of an eyesore, so you're right.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, it needs to be cleaned up in some fashion. Whether it's worth getting any money out of it or not is probably not.
Has anybody expressed interest other than Northeast Dubois?
Yes, they have, yeah.
I mean, we can get top picking slots, I guess. I mean, got lined up.
I was contacted by one individual, but there's 2 interested outside of the school corporation, so.
Okay.
I was gonna let the school corporation kind of have their first run of it and take what they want.
That's cool.
Well, the not to exceed then would fix that, so that we can start there, and if it's done, then we just say, move on and say, okay, now it's free. Take it, and then we're done. And put an end date on it. I think that's the other thing, is we need to have a drop dead date, that if it's not done by this date, then it's just not done.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or the fire department can have a controlled burn.
That's something we need to have a vote on, Phil.
Yeah, I would. It's surplus property that you no longer need it for use by the airport. Technically, if the total value of those assets was, you can give any amount to another unit of government like Northeast Dubois. But if the total amount of the remainder exceeds $5,000, then technically you're supposed to advertise it for bids. But I don't think there's probably $5,000 worth of salvage value there after Northeast takes what they want.
Right.
So in that case, you can authorize the manager to dispose of it in any commercially reasonable manner that he deems appropriate. That's what I would.
There we go.
I like that.
We like that verbiage. I
I'll be
motion for
really
that.
happy if we get $5,000.
Sure.
Based on his recommendations, is anybody willing to make that?
I make that motion.
Jay seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, and last, all I have is office relocation. Today I brought some, not all, some, the most important stuff of the office. Got connected to the printer system here, and I think Steve's working towards the goal of Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just to start his transition, so for FYI for you, so. Yeah, on that, questions you guys might have?
I think part of the holdup, you guys can correct me, but you want to be close to the auditors, so you stayed there a little longer, simply because the auditors were in our old terminal, and so for them to run back and forth, it didn't make sense either, so we could have been in there sooner, but that was part of the holdup.
Yeah.
That is right. The auditors took half my day on Friday. Or Thursday, sorry.
Anything else?
I am done.
Have you gotten a bill from the auditors yet?
I have not seen the bill yet, but I think that would be discussed in the exit
Okay.
on the 29th.
Maybe you can negotiate.
You ought to be getting good at that.
Give them the car, you know.
Is it, refresh my memory, is any of that reimbursement?
Hey, Chris, are you up?
Audit costs, because I mean, that's the reason we have to have
Yeah.
the federal audit, right?
Chris,
So,
go ahead.
yes, actually, some of that is reimbursable. When you get to your review meeting with them, specifically request that they break out the federal portion of it and their federal rate with their billings, and then we can take that portion. Any audit though that's for your local accounts, the FA won't accept, but you can do for the latter.
Okay. Great question, Mike. Great question.
That's good to know.
Yeah. I neglected to highlight Mr. Blesh. It's so wonderful to see you back at the Airport Authority again, so thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for that, Mike.
Yes,
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
that meant so much to me. You were communicating all night and it really, really helped us.
Good. I'm just glad to see you standing here and at the board meeting, so thank you.
I think they can separate it easy enough.
Oh, yeah.
On the initial interview, when they came, they told us the federal rate was X dollars and the state rate was Y dollars, so they should be able to break that out easy enough.
They've accounted for it.
We'll have to make sure we get that separated. Okay, Chris, you're up. Engineer report. Anything to report?
Must be a delay.
I think he's just,
Oh,
Good evening. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to switch over, so, from the YouTube channel over to the Teams real quick. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I gave a quick update to some folks earlier with Nick, and, he's at home with family doing just great. And fortunately though, Curtis is out sick tonight, so, I was asked to join here, tonight, and I can give you a little bit of update on a few things. But I certainly can also take some ideas, as I'm not just quite as familiar with what the program's going on right now, and some of the activities. I do know that Wolfert's been helping Travis out, especially on the audits and making sure that they have all the documents and keeping them posted to the FTP. So hopefully you got everything you needed today too, Travis, and that was good to go. There is still some cleanup and some other items that we have to do for the punch list for the terminal. I know that is still ongoing, and there's a few other things that I know that our team were working on to repair and address. I don't have a good update on those right now, but I can be happy to get an update on those as you need it. So then we can then ultimately move towards some of the project documentation and then it's closeout. Also aware that you had a couple grant applications that I believe you guys all approved last month. So, and I'll check with Curtis to make sure those are still going through, but I believe they are. So just on what I've seen so far. Any questions for me or anything I can follow up with the team on?
You don't need any approvals from us tonight then?
No approvals. So, is this your first board meeting tonight in the new place?
No.
Third, fourth?
Third or fourth, yeah.
Third or fourth, I think.
March, I think, was the first one.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks great. I just want to say that even across the video, it's really nice to see. So, much different perspective.
It's, yeah, a little different than our last place.
A little bit, a little bit.
All right,
Thank you, Chris.
thank you.
Thank you.
Phil, you're up.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I think I did.
Moving right along. Any other business from any other board members? This could be a short meeting, especially for you, Mike.
Came over.
Okay, I'm not hearing any. We'll keep moving. We all received the claims register this evening. We had an opportunity to review them. Anybody have any questions about any of the claims?
Motion to approve them as presented.
And the second?
I'll second that.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I think Jay seconded.
Okay, so, any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Travis, that's the best choice. You're going to take care of getting that copy. Yeah, thank you.
say that again.
It was just our lease.
Okay, well, that's what that is, okay. We'll open up the floor to visitors and any questions, proposals from anyone? I think one of you wanted to be on the agenda.
Yeah, I hate to make your meeting go long after you were all anticipating such a short one. But, we have several things. You want to do your thing?
I'll do mine first, if I can.
We'll do the easy things
Yeah,
first.
I've been helping Travis and working on the display case that's out in the lobby. Such a great place, and I know Travis has some merch there, which is nice. And some of us really thought that it would be nice to have a tribute to Frosty Jones there. So we're starting to work on kind of proof of concept things. I've been in contact with Frosty's nephew and his grandson. His grandson has quite a few boxes of memorabilia and pictures and things like that he needs to go through. He's acquired them from some of his aunts, uncles, and parents. He's just starting to go through those, but he's very happy to share those and work with us to come up with a really nice Frosty Jones display. I've set up a proof of concept. I put a couple of pictures out there, a little 8x10 about Frosty and some pictures of airport airplanes through the years, but we're gonna expand on that and make that look really nice in the display case. And as we get the information, we'll come up with something really nice and work with Travis to kind of have a tribute to Frosty Jones so the public and people coming through can find out why we call this the Frosty Jones Funeral Building. So I've been working on that so just kind of keep your eyes open and we'll have some more information as we get it. So, yeah.
You might want to introduce yourself to the board because they don't know me.
Yes. Oh, they don't know you.
Kim's not gonna know you.
I'm Lisa Lowry. I'm John's wife, and we're part of the HNB hangar operation that's been here for 25 years. So I've worked at the airport in our little office there for 25 years, and so I'm happy to help. And, we're involved in the Lincoln Hills Aero Club and such. So kind of part of the public-private partnership that Travis is so proud of.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah.
I have another item before we get down to the lease stuff. Some of you may have noticed a new sticker on the front door as you come in. It's a red and white and black sticker that says AED inside. So this is a big public building now, and can hold a lot more people, and there are going to be a lot more people in and out of here. And in many public buildings, I don't know that it's a requirement, although it wouldn't surprise me if it were. You know, Brian?
No,
They don't think it is.
no, but obviously it's been encouraged and it's becoming commonplace.
Yeah, to have one of these devices, and this is called an AED. Anyone talking to Travis and Andy, I was happy to hear that anyone who does CPR training these days gets introduced to what an AED is. So you may all know what this is and have used them before. This is an automatic defibrillator. This is the latest version. And as you might imagine, it's not quite AI yet, but it's getting there. I mean, it used to be that there was just a voice that came out of these things and said, this is what you need to do if you have someone who is down and unresponsive. And now, not only does it have a voice, it's got a cartoon. So it literally leads you through the steps to do the initial resuscitation for someone who is unconscious and may have lost their ability to breathe or their pulse. So talking with Travis, Lisa and I wanted to make some kind of donation in honor of the new building as well. And actually, I got to give credit to Dave Yates, who said, do they have an AED? And I talked to Travis, and he said, no, we really need one of those. In fact, we may need two of those. And so I said, well, let's start with one and see how it goes. And so we would like to donate this device and the cabinet that's out there. The box goes in a cabinet. The cabinet has an alarm on it. It's really obnoxious. So if you open the door on that thing, hold your ears, which is a good idea to let people know that they shouldn't be in there unless they're seriously wanting to get this out and use it as part of a resuscitation. The particular area for the cabinet was suggested by one of the board members. We were trying to figure out where it should go, and all of a sudden, man says, well, it should go right there. And we looked and said, he's right, it's perfect. So Travis and I just put it up there, and so we're ready to go with it. It's live, and I've also done it with a couple of firefighter people and some physicians. And part of our donation here is we're going to get together and run a little familiarization program with this. We've got an extra set of pads, and we can get hold of one of the resuscitant Annies. You remember those from CPR training, and see how this actually works. Just turning it on, it's amazing to see the difference from when I first came upon these things probably 15 or 20 years ago. They're really easy to use, and this one is set up to do adults or children or anyone that needs it. So we'll put this back in there, and just want to let you know that it's available.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
try it on you.
yes.
Did you say
that
no?
is good. I think for 5 years. Yeah.
Well, you chargeable? You're retired.
No,
Okay.
no.
So it's something we gotta keep an eye on.
Need to keep an eye on. There's an expiration date. All the electrodes and things all come in a packet like this, and there's a date on the packet. And so, yeah, And that's something that you might want to put in your tickler file. And no doubt, any
Improvements.
any state officials who come by or safety officials, they probably want to see that the expiration date hasn't passed. But you're good for 5 years anyway.
Question, that's a good question.
You might wanna let your insurance know too, that you have that on site, you'll get a discount for that.
Yeah, that's better. Hadn't thought about that.
A lot of times the discount's enough to pay for it. They like insurance companies and things.
So if you have any questions about it, let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions and I'm kind of looking forward to playing with them.
I mean,
Thank you very much, John.
yes.
And everyone that was donating that, and obviously it's very well needed everywhere, not just here. Is there a current program where the employees of the airport and staff, like Dustin and other people here, are they CPR certified? Is there a requirement for that?
There's not a requirement. We have been through the city of Huntingburg provided CPR training for us employees here. So we have went through that.
Okay, I was gonna say that if instead of going through the training for the AED, it'd be really silly to do that. We should just go through the CPR training because it's included in that now. And they can come on site and do that for everybody if they're not.
I don't remember that specific AD unit.
Yeah, but they're almost idiot proof now, right? It's really.
For the people who are here, they are all a little bit different, and this one is a little different than the ones that I had used previously, in a better way. I mean, you turn it on and it tells you exactly what to do, and the cartoon video, there's a video there that it plays and stops and says, have you done this? Is this a child? Push this button. I mean, it's even more idiot proof than when we first started to use them. But so we'll get together with whoever you want to get together and have a little. This is not a training session. It's not going to be certifying anybody. I can't do that. But at least, people are familiar with the device, with this device, the people who are going to be around here, Andy, Travis, Aiden, yeah. So, okay. So, and the last thing, since I'm taking over your meeting completely here, is I want to hand out a little some papers with outline a proposal that we have regarding our lease for HNB hangar. I'll just send those down the way. It should be enough. Well, I got a few more.
I think we got enough.
Okay. Yep.
And you're not in this group.
So
I have not.
we are acutely aware that, as I said in my talk for the airport managers, after 26 years, it hardly seems like any time at all, but we are back to the point where our original lease terminates as of December 31st of this year. And having sat in these meetings for the last year or so and watching how difficult it was and sometimes painful to get through these renegotiations of leases, we wanted to get started on this early and try to make it smooth and at least open the discussion early. So I'm going to hand it over to Ken. Ken is going to do the presentation of our ideas, although we've got pretty much our whole organization here. Scott Brown is, and Mike Schmidt is out of the country, right? Yeah. Japan. So Scott Brown may show up, but he would be the only additional one. So you're looking at our whole organization here. And so I'll turn it over to Ken.
So we kept it as simple as possible. And the word we picked up on, Travis, is your public-private partnership, you know, in your big meeting you guys had. And believe it or not, we've been paying attention to what's been going on here for a long time. And, you know, we're sitting there saying, do we want to get in that fight? We have no reason whatsoever to have, as you said earlier, finger pointing, but we're not looking for that. We're looking for, here's what it was, the lease is coming up. And our first initial thing was, like everything we heard in all the other meetings, let's go to other airports. Let's see what they're charging. And some of the other local airports are charging less than what we have here for the ting hangars. And then I think it was John or Brandon, one of you guys came up with, wait a minute, why are we doing that? Let's use what we have just due south of our hangar that they built. And Brandon and I are new. There's originals over there, Scott Brown. So we based it off of how your lease is drawn up with the other set of T hangars. And as we go down through there, they're similar size. They have bifold doors. The hangars rent for 22 cents a square foot. That's where you are, Brian, down in that area. And so what we got to thinking about is, well, let's take that and let's figure out what we have with the hangars that we have. And we have decided, which makes it probably kind of crazy. I'm 69, John's 69, you're, we only have one youth. We only have one youth. That's it. The rest of us, you know, how long are we flying? That's why John brought this, I think. You know, I'm pretty sure that's the whole deal there. So what we looked at, we're willing to continue with all the risk and expense. So let's explain what risk and expense means. They have a 26-year-old building with a 20-year-old roof. And there's been bids upwards of $50,000 that roof's gonna have to be replaced. So we're willing to do all of the repairs, basically everything as is. Travis, I think you know how it's worked from day one. I don't know how all these other people surely weren't on the board back then. But what we're looking at is we will take on all the expenses, meaning metal roof, heating system, boiler pumps, bifold doors, motors. And they're also saying that they're thinking, you know, next X amount of years, according to the history of these motors that open these doors, it's not a matter of if one's going to go down, it's a matter of when. So if we take over and renew the lease with the Air Board, then that all falls under us. The other thing that we did, we've been listening, is you guys, we try to follow the standard FAA lease format, so that we're not just coming in out of the blind and saying, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're not doing that. We're following the lease of what they're wanting to do. I won't pull a Jimmy and say I need an answer tonight, but soon. How's that? That's fair. What we don't want to do is go into X amount of months. He said, she said, let's just figure it out. Sit here at the table, what seems fair, and the guests go from there. So what we have thought would be a very fair thing with the partnership is we would like to have an 8 cents per square foot discount off of your 22 cents that you're receiving now from the hangar due south of us. Because none of those people have to pay for any expenses. We have to pay for insurance, we have to pay for the roof, we have to pay for the maintenance, we have to pay for everything that happens within that hangar. So what we're coming up with, the airport, as it sits right now, if you approve a lease, you would receive new revenue for the airport for doing nothing except signing and saying, okay, we're good with that. You're now gonna receive in excess of $17,000 a year. And all of the maintenance and everything else is on us. So it's $17,061.24 if you want to be, if there's some number guy in here, Ken. You know, guys like me, we're not like that, but you receive that income and you have zero expenses. We continue doing what we're doing, and you either give us a monthly bill or quarterly bill, or, I mean, Travis, you know what I would do, I'm gonna write the year, be done. You know, so then you've got that money in your bank, but I don't wanna write a check every month, and I don't know what everybody else wants to do. If they do it on a quarterly, I'm gonna write somebody over here a check. It depends who I'm gonna write the check to. But we think it's being extremely fair. I will tell you initially, when we started talking about this, I thought, how many years am I gonna fly? Why are we talking 20 years? I'll be 89. Our family never makes it that far. We don't even know what team we're on, if we were to be breathing yet. So that's, I guess, where we came up with what we think is very fair to the Air Board. And we're still here. We still buy fuel. We participate, whatever you might want. I'm not capable of doing a slide presentation like John. So you get me talking and that's it. If you want numbers, I'm going to turn over my left shoulder and talk to Brandon, how all that kind of stuff came up. But I think we put a lot of common sense into this. A lot of common sense, and the Air Board is not, you won't be responsible for any of the improvements that are coming up, and they're coming up. It's not a matter of if. I think you've had some repairs, correct? I mean, on the roof. We know that that's happening, and we don't like that idea, but it's reality. So, you know, and that's probably going to be about $50,000. One of many other expenses. So, with that, I missed something. What questions might you have?
You're still talking about a lease to the LLC, you know?
Right.
Correct.
That's the other thing, is we keep our structure of we internally handle if someone moves out, we pay you monthly no matter what, we fill that spot. We're basically signing a yearly lease for a certain amount, and we handle the management and the utilities and everything.
And we understand that you have the option, the building and the land reverts to you, that's part of the lease. And we understand that you have the option to go two different directions, well, several different directions, but two major directions. One is to take the building and lease it out to someone else, or lease out the hangars individually. We think that it's been a pretty good system for 26 years. And now it's an even better system, because we're going to be, in addition to doing all the things we've done for 26 years, we're going to be handing you over, you know, $17,000 a year. We think that's kind of found money for the airport board, and
you feel the discount is because you're paying utilities?
Utilities, maintenance, and management. We carry the insurance on the building, we pay the maintenance. You know, when the boiler goes out, Travis doesn't get a call, Scott Brown does. And we get that taken care of. We take care of the tenants. You know,
I hate to throw you under the bus, but today I walked by and saw a couple of sheet metal panels that had been replaced. And I remembered when Lisa hit some black ice out there and drove my car into the side of one of our hangars. And
Was she trying to hit you?
no, she missed. No, she, I understood, because I almost fell on my bottom too when I walked across the ramp. But as that's an example of something that was totally transparent to the airport. You know, we fixed that. You probably saw it, but we took care of it. And
We basically took the square foot price of your T hangers that you have just to the south of us. And then we didn't take electricity out, but, or we took the electricity out, but not the heat because you don't provide gas heat. But we took out the insurance cost and the, you know, we actually only did $810 for maintenance because that was our last year's expense. We kind of extrapolated it down to 8 cents a square foot is what we spend on things you provide to the tenants of your T hangar that we would be providing to ourselves with internally within our,
we were looking for a comparable. I know you spent a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to look at comparable situations to Jasper engines and to put a monetary value on things. And as we looked at comparable hangars, we looked all around here as well. And then we realized that 20 yards away, we had the closest comparable we're ever gonna have. And that's the T hangars that are already built at Huntingburg. We had to make some adjustments to that because our hangar is 20 years older than those T hangars. And in the next 20 years, we've been pretty lucky with it. Yeah, it's gonna catch up with us and we're gonna have to be making a lot more investment to keep it up and running. But so that's where we started with the numbers, is trying to generate as close a comparable as we could.
And I think part of the other thing of, since I've been with this group, what the airport can be assured of, we're not gonna bring somebody in there who's gonna be a troublemaker. I mean, these guys are, you gotta take an interview to find out if you're allowed to get in. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, they dig pretty deep, actually. I know, how did I get in? They were sleeping, I found the key and I got in. But, I mean, it truly is.
By the skin of your teeth.
That's right. And so they're very particular who they're bringing in because I've learned it is a little family on the airport. And as I said, and John said, you know, we almost fell in the trap of looking everywhere around us. And it's like, wait a minute, why are we doing that? Because all that did was cause a big rift in the Jasper engine thing between Jasper engine and the airport. And it's like, why go there? Let's just stay on the airport and let's look right here, what we got, just due south, and let's make it as absolutely fair as we can. And you guys receive money with, you weren't receiving it, but now you will, for maintenance or whatever it might be.
one thing to take into consideration is we have a system in place for utilities and insurance that Lisa takes care of. If the airport did take over the building, you would have to figure out a system to extrapolate everything and put a dollar amount to, you know, the heating and the maintenance of certain rooms that not everyone has access to. And we have all that in place and we're willing to keep it going. I know my concern, I wanted to stay in there and keep a long lease. I'm willing to put a new roof on it because I'm younger. And I kind of, they're willing to do that, which they wouldn't have to be at this point, but I think that's a big pro to the airport is you don't have to worry about an upcoming expense.
I'll make a statement and then I got a question. First of all, I'm new to the board, as most of you know. I've been here just 2.5 years, so, but I've heard a lot of good things about your group, and you've been a very important part of this whole airport, so thank you for that. And you know, I've heard that, and I know that part's true. The next question I've got is, you mentioned that we've negotiated very hard with a couple of our corporate tenants. Tell me why you think you're a whole lot different than than they are. I mean, your rates are a lot less than what they're paying. Explain to us why you think your rate should be a lot less than Jasper Engines or.
We compared it to the T hangars just due south of us, same kind of square footage. I mean, that's where we came up with those numbers.
We're a T hangar building, and that's a T hangar building.
Those are not T hangars, those are big, massive buildings.
And we're not a multi-million-dollar corporation. We're six guys.
I mean, at a lot of other airports, an FBO manages, they rent the building and they manage the actual, customer leases. But here we have a situation where the airport board is the FBO. So, we kind of manage our own little property there. It's a T hangar, just like your T hangar, but instead of, you guys managing everything about it, we manage everything about it.
That's why I asked, because you're right, it's a T hangar, but at the same time, it's a corporately owned, it's a privately owned building that you all are the owners have access to it. You have the right to put somebody else in it. And that's why I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear on why you're different than the two that we just negotiated.
To be sure, it's a unique situation. And as I said in my talk for the airport managers, it required a unique situation 26 years ago. And we came up with kind of a unique set of people who were willing to make a big investment and take a big risk at the time. And it's worked really well. And so we'd like to give the airport board this opportunity to continue that, to continue what's worked for the last 26 years.
And I personally want that to continue as well. No question. Any other comments from the board?
Mike wants to say something, Jim.
Yeah, I would say too that I get where you're coming from with looking at the T hangar. That I think that makes sense, from just a common sense standpoint. And but I will say I'll just throw this out there that part of the issue I think we had for so long was that the board was trying to. We had our idea about what was comparable. These other tenants had their ideas about what was comparable. And eventually we arrived at a process where we kind of agreed that this is how we're going to approach these things moving forward. And so I'm curious to see how that would look against this value, because I think this is a good proposal and I appreciate all the time you spend preparing it and everything. And, I'm sure it's very thoughtful, very good. But I don't know if we were to sort of, I guess, follow the process we just did with Jet and with Best Home, we would get an appraisal. That would be, I guess the basis for our rate, we would offer, because we've really not even made a proposal to you, which is not exactly, we've talked about that as we finish together, so we need to address yours and put some attention to that before, obviously November's coming right up. So, and then, I'm just kind of laying it out there. So if we got an appraisal, maybe you didn't like the number, you wanted to get your own appraisal. I understand this introducing appraisal costs and whatnot. And then we would just, from what I understand, we would literally just average these two appraisals if that was the case. I don't know how that would look against this. The comparable that obviously you can't really get a better comparable. So I totally agree that there's a building right down the street, or, right down the road there from your facility that, obviously, but I'm not an appraiser and I don't know what that building would appraise for either. So if it is the best comparable, it should be reflected in the appraisal that we would get, I guess, is what I mean. And so to me, I would be inclined to trust that process and just kind of see how that would look. That being said, I think we've always been open to, if a tenant's willing to make improvements, to sort of work that into, you know, I mean, historically, we've done that in the past. I know with OFS, I remember some improvements to their building that affected their rate down. So I would also be open to all of those things, but I guess I'm just sharing kind of, that's my take, or what, you know, what I'm curious to see what that would look like against this proposal. Not that we would, maybe it's not even a maybe it's a different process than we go through for large corporate open hangars. Yeah, I mean, it's a different facility, and I get that too, but, that's where I'm going.
Here's why we did what we did. You said it early in your meeting about the security system, need to be apples to apples. There's nothing at this airport apples to apples except the hangars, T hangars just south of us. And so we can't compare our building to Jasper Engine or HNI, Kimball, or whatever you call it. That's yours.
I don't think an appraiser would either. They wouldn't compare your building to that building. That
Okay.
wouldn't be a comparable.
But that's how,
But our
that's our
hangar might
basis.
be a comparable.
That's our basis of how we came up with this.
Mhm.
And what the T hangar south of us, they're paying a monthly bill, that's it, everything that's in there is included. We're paying a monthly, but in addition, we're taking care of all the maintenance on a 26-year-old building, which
Which that is also in other.
Yeah.
Other.
but that's how that was the only apples to apples that we felt we could come up with. Because when we started this and we went to some of the other airports, it's like, wow, we need to ask for a whole lot less, you know? But no, let's keep it here. This is home. This is what we want to do, and we want to make it what's right.
Oh, yeah.
For
And there
everyone.
haven't been better tenants than this group. I mean, since I've been on the board since 2009 at this airport, you guys have done so much for the airport and you've been tremendous. You know, just giving so much to the community here. So I get that, you know, I totally respect that too. And hopefully, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's no universe in which I would say, you know, hell with you all and we're gonna go get a better tenant, because I don't think we could possibly find a better tenant than our group.
The difference there are T hangers, those hangar doors are pain, we're always changing seals and
They need
stuff.
seals.
I wish we could go back and use a different door, it had to be something better. It is what it is.
What it was then.
Back, at that time, that would have been just bigger pain.
So you're proposing a 20-year lease?
10-5-5.
Something like similar to what we've done with this.
We need something that we can put that roof on.
Yeah. You guys, you didn't mention it, but I assume you'd be open to an escalator like we
Yeah,
are doing it.
I think we have.
Is it like-
There's a 2% escalator.
I'm 2%, okay.
Yeah, unless you don't want to.
2.5 is what we're doing.
No, I mean, we're cool with that.
No, I think the
I didn't
board,
mention
the
that,
board
but
needs
it's,
to satisfy itself that your hangar is comparable to the T hangars, and that these are comparable facilities, and that this is a fair.
That's why we're
fair
on it
proposal.
forth now.
So, yeah, good.
We don't need an
It's-
answer.
Then I'm sure they appreciate it. You know, the other thing is, what we're seeing growth from a growth standpoint is that this is about a third of what we just negotiated with Best Chairs. Different hangar, different facility, we understand, but that's the first reaction that came to me, and probably others.
Second my reaction, that's why I brought up why.
But so they gotta satisfy themselves that they're doing their due diligence and they're treating this public facility properly, using the taxpayer money wisely, and being self-sustained to the extent possible. So this is a good start. Indeed.
I think that's the way I size up exactly. This is a good start. And I know Jimmy really well, and he just got to wait.
Jimmy wouldn't let anybody go home tonight, so he made the decision.
And you're probably right, but I think this is something that the board has to think about and maybe talk about. We don't want to wait till November 31st or December 31st to make a decision. I think we all want to make a decision a lot before then, but yeah, well, I think we need to, as a board, think about it and decide, because yeah, Mike made some good points. Phil just made some good points. We just negotiated 2 deals. And
I think we ought to at least get an appraisal similar to what we got.
Well, we got an appraisal on Jasper Engines, but then we took Jasper Engine appraisal and stipulated, that's not the right word,
Yeah.
the numbers to come up with a value for best home, so we really didn't get us another appraisal, so
I was
we're going
agreed
both
with Best.
directions at this point.
I was also agreeing with Best, I guess, so.
But we used
We
that
can see what that
original
looks
appraisal
like
to
starting.
come up with
Yeah.
best numbers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's something we as a group need to be thinking about and maybe
You
talking
also
about.
have to be aware that there is another lease that comes due before this, that we need to negotiate and resolve. OFS's lease or
It's August.
Hunker Air, what is it, OFS? And that expires in August. I've reached out to Bill Kaiser, I think you've reached out to Hank, and
Yep, I got
asked
it.
him to set some dates.
Yeah, I got an email, so I think we're gonna be sitting down with them maybe next week.
Okay.
So
It is, just, they're gonna be watching what happens here too.
Yeah, so we either gotta establish what we're doing or
Yeah.
appraise the other building or
Yeah.
buildings if we need to.
again, I think
Or at least
I
get these
want to
guys-
be fair with you all, because you guys have been important to the airport, and we want you to stay here and all that, so, yeah, we just gotta make sure.
We wanna be fair with all our
Digest
tenants.
Yeah. And we make
We wanna
sure
fair with all
we're
our
not
tenants.
unfair to everyone else in the deal as well, yeah.
So,
I think I want to add something. Obviously, I have a different perspective, having been involved in more of the functional use of the airport, okay? The major concerns that I see with this negotiation, even more so than the corporate hangars. So the corporate hangars, when that negotiation went through, I feel that there was a much less risk of flight, to pun there, of those corporations leaving the airport, okay? Because really, they gotta be here, okay? For the general aviation people, I'm not gonna say guys, but I think for the people that are there in that hangar and all the other hangars, the humor hangar, the other places, they are extremely sensitive to price, services and ability, as opposed to the corporations are extremely sensitive to location and access, because they are turning, burning, time is money, whatever. This group of people and everyone else that's here as a general aviation, it's a hobby mainly. And there is there's much more price sensitivity. Many of them can't be written off in all these other avenues and things that you're doing. And the competitive nature of the other airports, French Lick, Davies, KY8, Earhart even went down to Evansville at one point. I think he'd moved for various reasons. The portability of the general aviation aviator is considerably more than the portability of the H&I, Jasper Engines, Best chairs, just because of the nature of the beast. And that to me is also a consideration, like we talked about, the helicopter flying for the kids and the Frosty Jones presentation and the AED and the educational thing and the access of having general aviation patrons here with their longevity and activity for the high school kids coming in and out and doing these things. That's not something to be discredited or it can't be valued. And so this is going to be a little more complicated, I think, for those reasons, because, this group is majority running on a shoestring budget. The price sensitivity is extreme to where if, and some of these people are driving to the airport and equidistance to one of 2 or the 4 airports where I know Davies is making a huge push to get more hangars there. And that would be a direct competition because, they're just trying to drive business to their airport as we are as well. And again, the value of these and appraisals and all this stuff, I don't know where we land with that as a board, but I just want you to know that the general aviation, KY8, I think they're building more hangars now, right? And that's what, 15 nautical miles? How far is KY8 from us? 19, so it's under 20 nautical miles from us. French Lick, you know.
KYA Henderson?
It's Hancock County.
It's just kind of, it's right outside of Owensboro, but it's right here. When our fuel farm was down, we actually flew down to get fuel there, because it's that close that it's not a problem. So those are some things that are a little different than, you know, a local corporation having to fly in people for a tour of their factory that day. The salespeople is different than Jim going to fly and get hamburgers on Saturday. He drives an extra 7 minutes, he's a KYA. And so those are things that I don't know how to factor those in and make that a known. And then.
And I would say, I appreciate what Mike says about getting an appraisal, but with what you just said, it would be, you know, without getting in the weeds of, I'm definitely not advocating one way or another. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be nice if you could arrive there with negotiation, since you've already done some work with some appraisals for this, that, and the other, if you could arrive there through negotiations with comparables from other airports and arrive at a place, to Phil's point, that is responsible for what's fiscally responsible as this board, and for the county, as well as what's responsible for, you know, our customer, our tenant, then you save the cost and you also save the time if you're wanting to get done before November of working through appraisals and all of that, that you might get the appraisal and say that's not something that's, you know, gonna be, you might have gotten there through negotiation, to Ken's point, with regard to this is what DCFS was, here's how we factored this around, and we sat down at a table and we got there through negotiation. So, you know, if you can get there before you have to go to appraisal, while everybody's in an agreeable mode to work through it, then I think you save time and money by all accounts.
Yeah, I think extracting that value from the appraisals we've done is concerning to me, to your point as well, that probably not exactly, like, it's more comparable for the other large corporate hangars that we have. I don't know that appraisal would even be comparable. To your point, airports have T hangars. They don't have these huge hangars just lying around. They have T hangars, and those, from what I understand, are typically lower price than ours.
But you can just call,
Even than the one that you're comparing.
Yeah, but you can just call and get what they're charging there.
We've called and we've gotten
Appraisal could bring you that
DCY,
value down.
KYA, French Lick.
Without getting a
And we
formal
understand-
appraisal, you can call and get those values. You don't have to get a formal appraisal, that's all I'm saying. You can get there through negotiation.
We did it easily.
Yeah, sure. That may be a different channel to get there. That's basically doing some market research, but
Yeah,
someone's got to establish that, you know what that is, so. But it's just nice when that's a third party, and it's not, that's, you know, what if we don't, you know, we said, hey, we disagree, I guess we just burn that bridge, or cross that bridge when we get there.
I'm just saying, you can call and ask, how much do you charge for a T hangar?
Yeah.
And
Well, we could probably tell you that.
you can, from the board standpoint, Mike can call, you know, Mike can call and get those.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is Google the airport, got the number, ask what a T hangar is, and they'll give it to you right over the phone.
I think what I'm hearing is this is a very good starting point.
Yeah.
Something that we need to digest and consider everybody's opinions. And I agree, if we're meeting with OFS here in the next week or two, it'd be nice to see where we come down with those before we make a decision on this one, just so we want to be consistent. We don't want to make a decision on these people based on this numbers, and then we make a totally different decision based on these people using a totally different system, so.
Just remember, Ken, we use what's here at this airport.
Right.
We base it off the structure of this airport already, is how we did that. And what,
I heard that, I understand.
well, I'm just making sure that we didn't, you know, go somewhere else and say, well, they're only paying $125 for a T hangar because that's what it costs. And, you know, we're not doing that. We're saying this is what, this facility right here is.
Basically, what we had extrapolated was if you guys take over the building, this is what you're gonna get for this T hangar. You know, you're gonna charge your rate plus the utilities of your other T hangars. But you're gonna have the added cost of replacing the roof and the boiler. The roof doesn't need immediately replaced. You've probably got, I don't know, 5 years left maybe. We got John Fleck up here and did some work to it. So that's where we arrived at our number.
I would like to add the fact that, I can't speak for any of those other corporations that are on that side of the airport, but I don't think any of them are under the illusion that and we all understand it, I think, as well, is the fact that there is any real correlation between their facilities and the rate of a T hangar for general aviation.
Right.
These are it's no different than the planes are different.
But it did get brought up during our negotiations.
Yeah.
What we charge for T hangars did not bill.
Yeah.
It absolutely they were looking at that number and they assumed that we were low in on the market. And we quickly corrected their assumptions, and let them know within the last 5 years, there was a escalation in those T hangar rates.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure they're aware of it, but they're not. Yeah,
Right.
and we'll talk about it, but it's a great starting point, guys, I really appreciate this.
Travis, I think you need to, at some point, get a memorandum out to the board to describe that unit, their hangar, and what's there, but I don't think anybody knows there, the square footage, is it blocked off in T hangar spaces, or is it a big community hangar? I don't think the board knows that. Is there office space there? How much is office space is there? What's that used for?
I've seen the outside of it, that's all I know.
I just think the board needs to know all these details before it can come up with an educated acceptance of an offer.
So to that point, would it be acceptable sometime to arrange a sort of a walkthrough of the facility with the board members? So they can kind of put their eyeballs on it. I'll create a document, but it's nothing like seeing something for yourself.
Meeting must be over.
After something like that, this would make a big difference if I don't keep flying. Whatever happens here.
Yeah, might hang that.
Right.
All right, thank you very much. Again, we will work on this, and we're not gonna wait till the end of the year.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, I think we're at the point to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second,
I think we made the motion. He's just
I'll make the motion.
I didn't hear it first either. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
I got
Thank you all very much.
I took notes.
Seemed on this.